Why is Will Smith now blaming Chris Rock for the Oscars slap? He's clearly trying to make his re-entry into Hollywood, as the press tour for his new film Emancipation is kicking into gear. Over the past few weeks, the actor has been making more and more public appearances, and of course, giving more explanations for that infamous Oscars incident. But it's his latest appearance with Trevor Noah on The Daily Show that has got fans really talking. When the conversation turns to the slap, Will says that it was an explosion of anger that was years in the making, and he also seemed to partially put the blame back onto Chris Rock. Will said with a laugh that he has no independent recollection of the fight, but that he understands how shocking that was for people. He agreed that he was in a daze when it happened, and he said, "I was gone, dude. That was a rage that had been bottled up for a really long time. I understand the pain." When Noah speculates as to what caused his outburst, he says flat out that it stemmed from rage going back to his childhood. Quote, "It was a lot of things. It was a little boy that watched his father beat up his mother, you know? All of that just bubbled up in that moment. That's not who I want to be." Will also claimed that there were other things he was going through that night which no one knew about, and that's why he erupted in violence. He went on to say, "That was a horrific night, as you can imagine. You know, there's many nuances and complexities to it, but at the end of the day, I just lost it, you know?" Then he says, "You just never know what somebody is going through." At this point, Will then makes a plea to the audience, telling them to be nicer to each other because you never know another person's troubles. So in a way, he was almost saying that comedians like Chris Rock should tread lightly when telling jokes because at any moment, someone in the audience might snap, because of course they're going through something. To be fair, Will also made it clear that that didn't justify his behavior that night, but the whole thing still came off as a bit of an excuse. And it gets even worse when Trevor asked what he learned from the incident, and he just says, "We gotta be nice to each other, man, you know? It's hard." He explained that hurt people, and that he took his pain and put it onto someone else. In response, Noah says that he believes that the slap was not who he is as a person, and says that everybody makes mistakes. Will agreed and said, "I've always wanted to be Superman. I've always wanted to swoop in and save the damsel in distress, and I had to humble down, and I had to realize that I'm a flawed human, and I still have an opportunity to go out into the world and contribute in a way that fills my heart, and hopefully help other people." What he's referring to, of course, is his new movie Emancipation, which may well see him in contention for another award next year, but the question of whether or not it's too soon for him to make a comeback is still up in the air, and he knows that. Will says he will absolutely respect moviegoers who are not ready to see his upcoming film. Instead, he says that his deepest concern is that the Emancipation team will face the consequences of his actions, and the idea that they might be denied because of him is something that he finds very distressing. In the end, he says he just hopes that their work will be honored and not affected by his horrific decision. He also believes that audiences will go out and see the movie. He said, "I'm hoping that the material, the power of the film, the timeliness of the story, I'm hoping that the good can be done would open people's hearts at a minimum to see and recognize and support the incredible artists in and around this film." Will has the lead role in the movie playing Peter, a man whose path to freedom forces him to rely on his wits, unwavering faith, and deep love for his family as he journeys north, escaping the cold-blooded hunters and surviving the unforgiving swamps of Louisiana along the way. The film is inspired by a true story, which came from the 1863 photos of whipped Peter, taken during a Union Army medical examination that first appeared in Harper's Weekly. According to Will, the movie served as one of the most grueling and transformative processes of his entire career, and that his character's journey mirrored his own search for faith during that difficult time in his life. The actor said that he's learned many things from Peter, and he's absolutely changed after having this spiritual run-in with this great man. But as for the film's reception, there's a real possibility that it might become part of his 2023 Oscar campaign. We know that back in March, Will was banned from attending Academy events for a decade, but funnily enough, he is still technically eligible to be nominated and even win another award at next year's ceremony. The only thing is, if he does win, he wouldn't be allowed to accept the award in person. So what do you think? Is Hollywood going to forgive and forget? Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll catch you in the next video.